Good morning, and welcome to Lesson 26 in our study of the book of Ecclesiastes. Now, if you've been following us along, you'll realize by now that Solomon is really trying to compare the meaning of life without God and with God. And he's really given the argument that life without God as a whole is meaningless. In the end, it's meaningless because everyone ends up in the same place. We all end up in the grave. And without God, the end result is the same for everyone. He's also been putting forward the argument that it's better to be wise than to be foolish. It's better to be wise for many reasons. For one, that it helps you cope with those unexpected circumstances and events that come along which change our lives or can change our lives quite dramatically. And it also helps us understand those things which we cannot understand, those apparent plans and actions of God which to us are inconceivable and really unknowing. But because we cannot know everything that God does from the beginning to the end, having the wisdom to understand these things helps us cope better with life in general. So what he's saying throughout this book is that it's better to be wise than to be foolish. It's better to have God than not to have God. For the meaning of life is not there without God in your life. But now he's getting into a little part which is a bit of a different trend, because now he's saying that even the wise have foolish episodes, or can have foolish times, or can do foolish things. So as we get into chapter 10, this is the track that he's going on, that even the smartest people can have their letdowns, can do foolish things which can make a great deal of difference in their overall existence and life. And he starts off in chapter 10 with this statement: the dead flies putrefy the perfumer's ointment and cause it to give off a foul odor. Now, in Solomon's day particularly, perfume and ointments were very valuable and very treasured commodities. And what he's using here is a statement that a little object that is foul can destroy the whole batch. This really is where our line that a fly in the ointment really comes from. So Solomon is saying that a little of something that's foul can putrefy, destroy the entire jar of ointment. And so he's saying that a wise man's heart is that, so does a little folly to one respected for wisdom and honor. So no matter how well you're respected, a little change, a little slip can make a huge difference in one's life. And we all know this. We've all heard stories of people saying things on Facebook which they probably shouldn't say and which has come back to haunt them. Or of people saying something, politicians for instance, saying something which is ill-advised, and that has cost them some of their careers. Or such a thing as taking a trip during this time of our lives with COVID around, when they've been advised not to, disobeying their own regulations. All these things are small slips that can destroy a person's life from that point onward, can destroy a career, can destroy a reputation. So this is what he's saying, that a small amount of folly can destroy one respected for wisdom and honor. And if you look at the Old Testament, there are examples there. Esau, because he was hungry and wanted something to eat at the moment, gave up his birthright. That was something which he would live with for the rest of his life. Even Moses, who led the Hebrews throughout the desert for 40 years, did everything that God asked him to do, stood up for the people, was an honored follower of God. At the very end of the trip, when God asked him to speak to a rock so it would bring forth water, he struck the rock out of a bit of anger. And because of that one misdeed, God did not allow him to enter the promised land. A small thing, a little bit of putrefaction in the whole ointment of his life made the difference in how his life ended. So this is what Solomon is saying with this, that dead flies putrefy the perfumer's ointment. A little slip can make a whole big difference in one's life. And same thing, so does a little folly to one respected for wisdom and honor. It takes only one small step, sometimes one small mistake, one small slip, to change one's future life and future direction. And then he goes on to say that a wise man's heart is at his right hand. In Solomon's day, the honored place of power and authority was at the right hand of the king. This is why the Bible says that Christ is at the right hand of God. So a wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart is at his left, because the left hand was the place of disgrace. It was not the place of honor. So the wise man would be at the right side, the fool would be at the left. This was really brought out well in Matthew 25, verse 33, when Jesus said, "And he will set the sheep on his right hand, and the goats on the left." The sheep to go to everlasting life, the goats to go to everlasting destruction. This was an idea of the right hand being so important versus the left. So what he's saying here, that a wise man's heart is in the place of power and authority. The wise man's heart is on the right hand, but the fool's heart is on the left. And then he says, but even when a fool walks along the way, he lacks wisdom, and he shows everyone that he is a fool. When somebody does something which is foolish, it usually becomes known. And if he's going to walk along that path, especially if he continues to do that foolish thing, especially if he continues to act in a way which is not wise, then it will become known. And it will show that he lacks wisdom. A wise man's heart is at his right hand, a fool's heart is at his left. Even when a fool walks along the way, he lacks wisdom, and he shows everyone that he is a fool. How many times have we seen in the paper, on television, of people doing foolish things, especially those in places of authority and of power? They do foolish things, things which you would not expect them to do, but everyone then knows it. Everyone then follows it, and especially if it's done more than once, then it becomes known to everyone. So a fool walks along the way when he lacks wisdom, then he shows everyone that he is a fool. So what Solomon's saying in these first three verses, and that's all we're going to do today, these first three verses of chapter 10, the main thing is that even the wise, even those who are respected for their wisdom, even those who are known for their sagacity, can do foolish things. And without being careful, on a regular basis, we allow ourselves to fall into a trap. Solomon himself ended up in this trap when he married pagan and foreign women. And he sees himself in this passage. A person by the name of Samuel Scott, a Scottish preacher by the name of Horatius Bonar, wrote this: "A holy life is made up of a multitude of small things. It is the little things of the hour and not the great things of the age that fill up a life like that of the apostles Paul or John, David Brainerd or Henry Martin. Little words, not eloquent speeches or sermons. Little deeds, not miracles or battles, or one great heroic effort or martyrdom, make up the true holy life." So we must be on the edge always. We must be on guard always of the little things in our life that can slip us up, of those little events, those little trials that may mean nothing or seem like little things at the time, but can be a lot in the long run. A little dead fly in an ointment jar can ruin the whole batch. A little slip in the life of someone can ruin their lives from that point on. So Solomon is saying, be careful. Don't let folly overcome your wisdom. Don't let a little slip ruin your life. It is good to be always on guard and be careful with your actions and your words. So this is all there is for today. We'll go on to the next part of chapter 10 next week. Thanks for joining me. Hope to see you then. Bye for now.